everyone. Welcome to another episode of Plant Powered Business Strategies to Grow Your Positive Impact. I'm Brianna, and I'm joined by my friend Johanna.
Hi there.
Today, we're taking you behind the scenes a little bit into our lives as entrepreneurs, how we're growing our businesses, the different offers that we have planned for 2025. And here's a little spoiler, they're not all marketing related. We're going to talk about the different mindset journeys that have brought us to these offers. We'll dive deep into why we're offering them, and hopefully, you can pick up little tidbits of inspiration along the way for your own offers in the future. All right. Johanna, do you want to be in the hot seat first?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm really
Yeah.
excited about this.
Well, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your offer?
Yeah, the background is that, well, I think I had this kind of epiphany or like realization last autumn that, wait, like visibility, it's kind of been my like nemesis or the hardest part for me to like somehow go through as an entrepreneur and just also like an activist. Like I'm really haven't been super comfortable putting myself out there, like sharing my voice and my face online, like whatever format. And and that it just like I know I've been thinking about this and talking about this for years, but I really like had this like realization that hey, I think this is what I'm supposed to do now, or like I should try to offer, and like tied together with like all of my understanding now about copywriting and messaging and marketing. So the next step when I had this realization, I was like, okay, I want to do some like one-on-one coaching with people just to gather some ideas, um, like what people are struggling with. And I had some one-on-one sessions last year, and it was very eye-opening. I realized that a lot of people, or like it wasn't that many people, but everybody seemed to have similar kinds of like mindset blocks around like really sharing their voice online, especially like social media, like fear of rejection, like perfectionism, not feeling ready, and and also this kind of like accountability, ease or consistency. And a lot of them also mentioned that like the one-on-one coaching was very helpful, but that like this community aspect would make it even easier, or especially this like accountability piece. So ever since then, I've been thinking that I want to do like a beta round of this kind of visibility and messaging coaching. I'm imagining 2-3 weeks where I kind of facilitate the space and like small steps, like very doable steps, like every day, um, like some mindset shift or like a new approach to or angle to showing up, and little like maybe writing prompts or like video prompts, and the community that holds it like that everybody holds each other accountable, and like I'm imagining a very like supportive community. So yeah, this is kind of in a nutshell, maybe, or not so much in a nutshell, but what I'm imagining, and I feel like very excited about it because I feel like there's so many like ethical or like very like purpose-driven business owners, activists, change makers out there like who have this message, like it's so clear, but yeah, they're holding themselves back for whatever reason. And if I can help anybody in any way any way to get over those issues or obstacles, I would be so happy to give it a shot and see what comes of it. So that yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Oh, I love that so much. It's such a big hurdle that so many people have to, in their personal and professional lives, feel like being seen,
Yeah.
is one of the most vulnerable things that we can do. It doesn't have to be on the internet even, but just like
Yeah.
showing up in a space and letting yourself be observed in that space. Talk about social anxiety and things like that. Like that's a form of vulnerability and showing up for yourself too. So I think this will really have an impact on people's personal lives, let alone their professional lives, and how they can advocate better, how they could grow their business more. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about like personally why being vulnerable in this way means a lot to you?
I've talked in the past also in our podcast that for the longest time, like in my like activist past, I had this feeling that the like the animal stories and the mission, like those should like take center stage, or that should be enough. That, but like the more I've kind of put myself out there or like thought about this, I've realized that there's this other layer which has to do with my like personal past, like getting like bullied at school and just being the odd one out, like like as I was growing up, like really not fitting in, and how I just like learned to make myself smaller or like invisible. Like we always tell it, like ourselves stories about like ourselves, so like who knows what the truth is, but this is like I feel very much that that's like my story, and I based on what I've talked with other people and what I see, I know that so many people have like a similar experience. So like there's really, yeah, like this deeper layer to it, that this for me, like this offer, it's not about marketing. Like I don't think about it like through like a marketing lens, or like I don't want to push people to create more content, but like really trust your voice, like find your voice and trust your voice, and through that like yourself, and because I want to work with like mission driven people, so it's also tied to the bigger purpose and a mission. So yeah, hope that answered your question.
It absolutely did.
Yeah.
And Peggy, my cat, joined us because she heard you
Yeah.
talk about animal stories. And
Oh,
no, but it's
yeah.
so true, especially when you have the background that we have. We both came to this from an advocate's point of view, and have since grown businesses in the space that are heart-led and still doing the work, but in a different way. It, I'm what's the word? Grateful that someone like you is holding space for people to make that transition, because I know you and I found it to be a little tricky. That's why we
Mm,
started the podcast. We wanted to
yeah.
support each other. We didn't feel like there was a space for that type of support to show up in this way, to use our voice in this way. We had to get those baby steps in, build those muscles, start feeling better about showing up in this way. And we held each other accountable in this
Yeah.
very space. And so
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that you're like paying it forward almost in that way. And like, okay, I got this mini support here. I started showing up more. I feel like now I can give back. It's a
Yeah.
really cool circle moment from the outside to watch you now give this
Oh,
back.
yay.
And I'm really grateful that you're holding space for like the future advocates or the next wave of advocates to get that same support.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for saying that. That I'm really happy that it comes through, because that is what I want. And in a way, I'm sorry, creating what I wish I had, or
Yeah.
like, or yeah, putting together the bits and pieces that I've learned and we've learned together, and yeah, paying it forward. And um I had another point, but I forgot. But yeah, I'm glad that it comes through what I want to do.
Absolutely. It does. And I'm curious if, and as you were thinking about, oh, this might be something that I want to do. Like I have a baby of an idea and it's kind of exciting. Like what was that moment for you when you knew what it was that you wanted to offer and you felt confident enough to pursue it? What
Yeah.
did that look like for you?
It was like really like a realization and this like excitement in my body that in I hadn't felt in a way, like really, like I think this is like like that. I think this is really like that it brings together so many things that I've struggled with, and learned that it like this makes sense. Like yeah, I think it was that kind of a moment last autumn. I don't remember the exact moment, but then yeah, I started taking action, or like writing things down, and I think I shared something on LinkedIn, like to get the first people in right away. So I was, yeah, proud of that. Now there's been, yeah, several months in between of getting like well, things happen and overthinking and like a bit of the analysis paralysis to be like, I want to be very transparent about this, that I don't have it figured out and yeah, want to offer a view to the messy middle because I think this is also what happens to a lot of people that then you start to doubt yourself. But I know that now I'm in the now it's time to take action and like put it out there and then gather feedback and see if it's needed and if it, you know, I think it is. I think it is, but in what format and yeah, like the beta round.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You said that you put it out there. Uh, Did you have any sort of response right off the bat? How did people
Mm.
see
Yeah,
it? What was
yeah, I mean this like one-on-one visibility coaching, like that's how I called it. I think it was October or something like that. I'm testing a new way to work with people. Like let me know if you would be interested. And I think 5 or 6 people like contacted me right away, like through social media, just one post. So that already gave me this feeling that okay, there's something here. And like based on those one-on-one sessions. So I had like a starting session with each person, and then they did some like exercises for like a couple of weeks, and then we got together again. Uh, and yeah, like through the feedback, I got good feedback, but that made me realize that I think the group coaching thing is the way to go. So that's a win. I got some real life
a huge
feedback.
win? That's a
Yeah,
huge one to go from this, like, there's this thing that's kind of exciting. And I feel like so many ideas just die and never see the light
yeah,
of day. We never know about them because people get excited. And then there's that block before they put it out in the world and they let themselves be seen and supported, which is what you're trying to help them with. So it's kind
yeah,
of cool. You took that risk on yourself and you're leading by example and
yeah,
saying, I'm going to be vulnerable. This is exciting to me, and I'm going to see if it's exciting to anyone else, whether or not
yeah.
it works. So
Yeah, and
that's
yeah,
great.
sorry.
Congratulations, though. No, no,
Thank
no.
you.
Yeah, that's
Thanks.
exciting.
And I think that was like a good sign for me because like I have so many ideas all the time, as I'm sure a lot of us have, and this kind of shiny object syndrome thing is very familiar to me. But this was really, it was like on a different level, and I was like, okay, no, I need to do something about this like right now. So I take that as a good sign.
Yeah. Well, you talked about messy middle. I think there's a little bit of messy action in the beginning there too, right?
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. And I also think with the messy middle, what I'm kind of struggling with is this. Well, I mean, like putting myself out there now with my own offer, which is scary, and it is like, yeah, I feel like I'm in the messy middle because it's something new, and I feel like I'm pivoting more from this like copywriter, marketer, like translator role, really to a coach role, and it's like it's not like I have a clear path in front of me or a guideline, and it's like oh my God, like scary, but yeah, from everything I've learned until now from people who have done stuff before me, it's like that's how you're supposed to do it. So you're not supposed to know it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite lessons that I'm still learning and still have to remind myself about since becoming an entrepreneur is that it's just gonna feel scary the
yeah,
entire time.
yeah,
You're just gonna constantly be afraid of your ideas, of taking that next step. But as long as it's like an excited scary, you're not
yeah,
like oh, I'm gonna go bankrupt or I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's not that there's a axe murderer hiding in the woods type of fear, right? It's more like this could be really cool and I'm
yeah,
afraid of how cool it could be type of
yeah,
excitement here. As long as it's that, you're golden. Like, and I think like it's still gonna be afraid. We're still gonna be afraid. We're still gonna
mm,
hold ourselves back because that's just human nature. Fear is meant to keep us safe, right? But I think what's really cool about being an entrepreneur is slowly over time you build experiences, you build those skill sets. And so it doesn't become easier, but you start to have like an index of proving your fear wrong,
yeah,
And you and I started these copywriting businesses. We started consulting in marketing capacities. We started our podcast. We started those group coaching monthly plant powered calls, right?
Mm.
Uh, like networking calls, and we just kept starting things. And so we were
Yeah.
training our nervous system to be like, yeah, we're afraid that no one's going to show up, that everyone's going to think we're silly, that no one's going to listen to this podcast, but we're doing it and
Yeah.
we enjoy doing it. And so then our nervous system comes back and is like, oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
we're still gonna be nervous, but I guess it's okay, and so it takes it down an edge and down an edge and down an edge.
Yeah.
And you get to create really cool things as you go along your entrepreneurship journey because you have that index. And so it lets you experiment more than in the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you put it, and it's exactly like that. And I think it's finally clicking for me this that it's about the like person you're becoming, because like the first times that I heard that I was like, what? That's like weird. It's like I don't know like how to take that. Like fair enough, like I'm not the same person I was like when I was 20, but like will this like really change me so much? Like what who do I need to become? But yeah, you do become a bit of a different person like as you take those scary steps and yeah, like step by step slowly. Yeah, like now I for example feel like okay, I'm like even good about like calling myself a coach. Like I still have a lot to learn, and anyways it's about the learning. Like you're never ready, but I feel like I've gathered enough skills and confidence to like step into that role, to be that person like who can lead this kind of like a container, at least in the like beta round. And I never, yeah, now I remember what I wanted to say before, and it's tied to that. So none of these things that we've done together, or that I've been a coach in the Launchpad, none of that I feel like would have happened if I hadn't taken the small steps to start like showing up online to begin with, like start showing up on Instagram or LinkedIn. Like I didn't used to do that, and it is like I am different. I'm a different person from what I was then, and yeah, I think in this is what I also want to guide other people through, like who feel like that's something that they want. It's not about me giving answers, but like yeah, really like walking alongside and guiding other people to like trust that these small steps, like you don't know what comes when you just keep walking.
Yes, you don't know what's coming if you just keep walking. Uh, you have to bet
Yeah,
on yourself first, right?
yeah,
I think that was probably the scariest thing for me to realize is because it feels so much easier to take a risk when there's others taking it with you, or
yeah,
when you like think about when you're a kid, right? Kids feel invincible because they are usually surrounded by some sort of community, whether it's school, whether it's like at home or some other family friend situation. There's someone there that's like, okay, yeah, take the risk. I got you. Like whether it's directly supporting or just existing, there's always someone there. When you're out on your own as an adult, it's you. And so all of a sudden you
mm,
have to be like, you got this, and you're like telling yourself you're your own cheerleader, you're your own pillar of support. And that's what you have to learn. You have to bet on yourself first. You have to say, okay, we can do this. Like you
mm,
almost put it in third person and like hold your own hand through it. And once you
yeah,
start betting on yourself, then opportunity opens up, not to get too woo-woo, but you start putting it into the universe like a different energy of things that you're open for. And then
yeah.
opportunity presents itself. I mean, that doesn't mean that you don't have to work for it, but as you start saying what you're working for, those things open up and you start to see the opportunities that you wouldn't have thought were for you before because you didn't bet on yourself yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a different
100%.
mindset switch too.
Yeah, but hey, I want to hear about what you're building now. What's happening behind your scenes? I know that you're planning a retreat in a year, like next like spring next year, and I'm really excited to hear about it because I heard that it's in a very special place, and it's about community and coming together to like rest. But yeah, I let you do the talking, or like you, yeah, tell us. Tell me, I'm
Thank
like can't sit on my seat.
Thank you. Yeah. Talk about betting on yourself, right? Like I don't know the first thing about hosting a retreat, but it's something that I feel really called to do. Like you were saying, I feel like coaching is really for me. Similarly, I there's a lot going on in the world right now.
Mm,
Like I think we can all just recognize that. If you've listened to past episodes, you know I'm based in the US and there's quite a lot going on politically and socially here
yeah.
too. In particular, not that other places don't have their problems, but um, as I was sitting through the different transitions that have happened in the first few months of the year and such, I really tried to find a way that I could offer something to the community. Everyone that I know, at least, is trying to find where they fit. A
Mm,
lot of it feels so overwhelming and so heavy right now that different avenues that they might have taken in the past don't feel safe or aligned for those people anymore. And I went through a similar experience. And so I sat with it and thought about how I could create a space that felt safe, that felt like an escape, that wasn't adding to people's plates, that was providing them nourishment, that was providing them community and a place to really take care of themselves. Because when times get like this, the first thing to go out of the window is self-care.
yeah.
We're so wrapped up in the current events. We're so wrapped up in taking care of those around us and making sure that we all make it through. And then we fall to the very bottom of that list. Um, and one thing that, it's always been a pie in the sky type thing in my personal life has been to bring more people to Cumberland Island, which is off the coast of Georgia in the United States. It's a barrier island on the east coast of the US. Um, it's a very special place to me, and I've always invited friends there to experience it too. And I've always found it to be a very healing place. It is largely untouched in the sense that wildlife management is pretty minimal. There's wild horses there that aren't managed like the horses out west, or even the horses to the north in Virginia, which get fertility control and a roundup once a year. Um, so the interactions with people are purely through visiting. Beyond the animals, the spaces are largely protected. The National Park Service has slowly taken over more and more of the island, and so it is being preserved in that way. And so the wildness of the
Mm,
island can be very healing in and of itself. I've camped there before, which, if you know the South in the US, you know how loud our thunderstorms can be. And I survived a thunderstorm on Cumberland Island in a tent. And the experience of being close to the beach, in the oak trees during a storm is healing in itself. And so I've just had so many magical experiences there. I knew I wanted to open it up. And in this climate,
mm,
it felt like it could be opened up to more than just my friend group. It felt like something I could do for people in my professional network, for people I don't even know yet, that need this nourishment from the island, that need
mm,
find people that also feel kind of lost or that feel overwhelmed or like their nervous system is just out of balance because of everything and they can't get back to remembering who they are. And so for me, this was just a way to experiment and see if other women were feeling like this, if other women would be open to being in a group like this and camping and eating delicious food and supporting each other in a cacao ceremony or just journaling and holding space for each other, just giving personal space and exploring the island, turning off our phones for a weekend. I mean, the whole thing is up in the air and meant to be determined by the group that signs
mm,
up.
okay.
But what was really intentional for me was that we would meet the week before, set intentions as a group, see how we could support each other, meet for the island weekend, which would be a long weekend over spring equinox next year, and then meet intentionally the week after to help us integrate and keep
Mm,
what we find as we move forward.
yeah.
So while the exact agenda for the weekend is still very in flux because I want it to be determined by this group of women and what they need the most, the place, what that place offers, and the intention for the weekend are what is clear for me.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds so that sounds so magical. I'm like just like picturing the place in my mind. That's
Yeah.
really beautiful. I'm wondering where you are right now. Who do you like envision like coming there, or who do you like want to invite, or who do you think
Yeah.
would benefit the most? Like I imagine you're thinking about other like business owners, but is it,
Yeah.
yeah, how open?
Yeah. Yeah, no, great question. I think we intentionally seek out people that are having similar experiences to us, whether
Mm,
we mean to or not. So I think fellow entrepreneurs or, professionals in my age group that I understand their experiences simply because I'm in that similar bracket with them would be who I had in mind when I created this, right? Because I understand the millennial experience. I don't
mm,
understand just because I'm not part of Gen Z, for
yeah.
example, right? Um, that doesn't mean that it wouldn't be for those people. I've had people join the wait list already who are my senior, right? They're in the generation before me, but the wait list landing page spoke to her and she reached out. She's like, "Can I come, please? This is really
Oh,
speaking to me." And she's a friend from the past, and so absolutely, it doesn't have to fit that millennial professional burnt out from going through yet another unprecedented financial crisis or whatever is really triggering you, right? Um, if it speaks to you, I want you there. It's one of those things that I want people there who are feeling called to take this
mm,
break for themselves, who are feeling called to put themselves first, who know that they need help and are reaching out and are ready to welcome community style help in this way. So it's not so much a specific age group or a
mm,
specific type of woman, but I did have like that professional mindset in mind just because we were talking about this before we started recording. Entrepreneurs tend to be those multi-passionate people that have all those ideas and are going all these different places, but they're also more likely to burn out for those reasons,
mm.
especially in a climate like this, because they would see all the opportunity for doing things that will help, or they see all the opportunity to fit a need, and then nothing's left for them. And so that was a big reason for building this idea, but we are not alone in that passion or that way of living. And so I'm very intentional that there are other women that this could really speak to too.
Yeah, yeah, cool. And I mean, based on like what you're explaining and what I like read about it, I really love this vi like vibe of kind of conscious like nourishment and rest in this world that just like won't stop or slow down, and just like feels like everything is getting worse and like collapsing. And I think like it's so needed now. But even if I feel like even if things weren't as bad as they feel right now, there's something so valuable about like exactly like you said, that like putting yourself first and like healing in community. And because there's so much like I personally feel like there's so much of this toxic productivity, or it's just like do like more all the time. And like it sounds so dreamy just to have a long weekend without a phone and just like connect with yourself and with other
Yeah.
people. Like it's because we are like we grow in community and we evolve in community. And yeah, I'm curious
Yeah.
about the like accommodation. I don't know if this is like going too far, but in case somebody's listening to this who might be interested, like what kind of like what are the like facilities or the like
Yeah. Yeah.
infrastructure? Is it like camping, or is do you have like some like
Sure.
cottages
Yeah. I
or
can
yeah?
speak to that. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, I also want to comment on what you were
Yeah,
saying with
yeah, go for it.
like in community, right? Because it was really intentional that um, that the space be rest. And
Yeah.
I think something that like this hustle culture that you were just
Mm,
speaking to hasn't taught us how to do, right?
yeah.
Because we have to be productive and we're only valuable for what we can produce. And so it was really important to me because after my horse era died, I reached the end of my rope. I
Mm.
was the productive, like Energizer bunny, and I suddenly just couldn't. I just couldn't. I couldn't produce at the level I was, and that brought up a lot in me. And I had to really sit with myself and think about what productivity should actually look like. Um, and part of that journey was finding resources and people that can speak to this much better than I can, like the NAP ministry, that speak to how rest is a form of defiance and it's breaking this capitalist cycle, right? And how we really nourish ourselves by prioritizing rest.
Yeah.
It sounds foreign. It sounds foreign, but the when you test it in your own life and you make sure that rest is built into being a productive day, you start to feel different. You
Mm.
start to act different in a good way, in a actually sustainable way, right? And it's still a productive way. And so I wanted to comment on that because it's a big push for why a retreat,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
why I can finally see myself hosting one, planning one. Like I never saw myself hosting one until I really understood that rest was part of success in a
Mm.
really meaningful way. Um, and just wanting to create that space for other people to kind of explore what that means for them too. Um, and then as far as the accommodations, yeah, it is a little unconventional, I suppose, is like a retreat. Most people think of it like those super fancy retreats, right? Like lush rooms and whatnot. And this would be camping.
Okay. I love it personally. Yeah.
This would be camping.
Yeah.
That's my style. I
Yeah.
love camping on Cumberland Island. Like I talked about the thunderstorm there, and that was later in the year.
Yeah.
But we will be avoiding hurricane season. We're doing March for a reason. March for the rebirth in the equinox, but also to avoid hurricane season. So people can feel safe camping on Cumberland Island. But it is camping. There are showers and different facilities there that the Park Service provides. And we'll have our own camping site, which is in mangroves, so it's kind of secluded. Excuse me, in palmettos, not mangroves, palmettos. So it's pretty secluded under oak trees and such. But we'd be camping as a group in individual tents. Um, that's something that the retreat will provide. People don't have to feel like they have to have all the
Mm.
camping gear or
Yeah.
be a pro camper or any of that. Like I'm bringing all of that for whoever wants to attend. Um, we're looking into caterers right now that would cater delicious food for us to the island, and we'll have different celebrations in that way throughout the weekend around nourishment of our bodies too. But yeah, it is a camping weekend, and so I'm excited to see how that's received.
Yeah.
It pushes you in such a like good way to go
Yeah.
outside of your comfort zone because it is safe there. They are very great, the Park Service rangers and such about making sure that the facilities and everything are up to date and clean and whatnot. So it shouldn't be something that gives pause, but it should be that comfortable discomfort.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for like speaking to that. And yeah, I repeat myself. That sounds amazing to me. I think there's something so powerful like about going back to basics and like removing like distractions and also like some I don't know like comforts. Although like based on everything that you're saying, and I know from my own like camping experience, like it can be so yeah, like comfortable and nourishing and like like I have a hard time putting it into words, but I can imagine that it is a camping experience. It's going to make it even more potent somehow, like connecting with the space and with yourself and others.
I think honestly, one of the coolest parts about being there, because it is an island, right?
Mm.
You're brought over there and then you have to stay there, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
could leave on the boat that leaves that afternoon, but once all the tourists that aren't staying leave, that's where the
Mm.
island really feels magical. Like there's more of a
Cool.
peace and flow to it. And my last camping trip there, for example, watching the sunset over the marsh and then watching the sunrise on the beach, like those are just things
Wow.
that we don't get until we unplug in this way, until
Yeah.
we surrender in that way. And so that's what I'm hoping to provide.
Yeah. Ah, so cool. I'm wondering, as you're preparing for this and stepping like yourself stepping into this new role as somebody who's hosting a retreat and planning a retreat, like what kind of, I don't know, challenges have you noticed, or like resistance, like fears? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. But we talked a lot about fear, and
Yeah.
all of that came up for me for sure.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome was a really big one for me.
Yeah.
Who am I to host a retreat? Who am I to organize this whole thing, create this space for these women, lead these women through a really intentional experience? Who am I to do that? Like, why would they follow me? Why would they join this? Why would they care? All of those questions came up. So much fear around it. Um, I think what really helped was reminding myself of my why, right?
Yeah.
Like I spoke this out to like our coaching group, Rain with the Copy Posse, and hearing the feedback of, wow, that really resonated with me when I just shared some of the hooks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The ideas behind it, some of the reasons why I got feedback from you guys that was like, whoa, I felt that one. I feel that. Like, and so getting some of that feedback was like, okay, there might be something here. You know, that baby step reassurance to my nervous system that I wasn't going too far out. I wasn't risking myself too much because this was needed. It was getting some of
Yeah.
that reassurance. Um, in posting the wait list, oh my gosh, so many emotions that day. The day I opened the wait list, refreshing my email inbox quite a bit to see when the first person would sign up. And then that old friend reached out. I hadn't
Yeah.
spoken to her in years, and she was my first sign up. And
Woohoo.
she emailed me with how much passion she had for the idea, and it was like this huge wave of validation
Yeah.
this was needed, that I put this out for a reason and that it was going to be well received, that I wasn't the only one that felt like I needed a space like this or an experience like this. And then you get that surge of momentum, right?
Mm.
The little wins along the way for me have been so helpful. In defeating that imposter syndrome monster. But it all came from being visible
Yeah.
in that instance. I had to post the wait list. I had to
Yeah.
put myself out there, maybe fall on my face, maybe lose money on ads, like all the things that go through your brain of no one's going to care, no one's going to sign up, no one, they don't know me. They don't know Cumberland Island. It'll be too hard. No one wants to camp. All of that, right? But I put it out there and I let people tell me no instead of telling myself no.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
told me yes instead. I hit my goal for the wait list. And so I'm like, okay, all right, another little surge of momentum. Here we go. And so I'm going to try and carry it into when doors open in June.
Okay, so yeah, so that's when doors officially
Yeah.
open. Amazing. Wow, I'm like so proud of you and like not at all surprised, like just knowing, I mean, as much as I know you're like, I don't know, kind and caring heart, and like how well you know this place and kind of just like the intention you have and like the your values. I think it's going to be really like a one of a kind experience.
Thank you.
Like really amazing. And
Thank you.
I wanted to point something that I think is really important to understand for everybody, that like when you create your own like offer the first time or the second or whatever, like I think it's so like tricky but so important to not like equal your worth somehow like with the feedback you get, because there like if you like everybody's fear is that it's crickets, like nobody like signs up right away or whatever, and like there could be so many reasons why that happens. And it might be that you just have to like change your messaging. It might be that like not enough people saw it. It could be like so many things, and it's just I'm so glad that like this resonated like with people, and I hope that the same will happen to me. Actually, I need to put my wait list out there. I'm realizing now. I think by the time this episode is published, I should have it. But yeah,
Yes,
for in
hold yourself accountable.
yeah.
You're holding future Johanna accountable by saying by the time we publish, you're gonna
Yeah,
have it.
yeah,
On
totally.
that, though, Johanna, I do want to share, like you talked about the messy middle.
Mm.
I think in all honesty, the whole thing's gonna be messy. The whole
Yeah.
thing. Like, I had someone reach out and say, "Hey, the link's not working."
Mm.
Like, I boosted the waitlist post and it had a link that half the people couldn't access. So, like, things are
Well,
gonna happen. It's
yeah,
all gonna be messy. I still hit the goal, you know.
yeah,
So you, I took that hard. I felt really frustrated with myself, but like it's all part of it. Like you were
yeah,
just like, it might not look the same as the experiences that we've shared today when you launch your own thing. It might look better, it might look a little messier, whatever it is. What matters, I think, the most in this, that I'm telling myself matters the most in this, is that we just keep going. If
yeah,
we believe in it and we see, like, we focus on those little wins, like you got people to sign up immediately when you did the trial, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you were working one-on-one, you're like, hey, is this something people are interested in? You got interest. I had interest with the wait list, right? So focusing on those wins along the way instead of what's going wrong or what's a little messy, so that you don't find reasons why not, you find
yeah.
reasons why to. Um, yeah, it's going to be the most powerful thing for you guys.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. These things are not failures. It's like you always have a chance to learn something and like do it a bit differently or edit something or and just yeah, like move on and like wait way to go for you to like own this. Like it is messy, it might be messy, like and it's still, things can be like a messy and amazing, wonderful, inspiring, like both things can be true. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Ah, this was such a good conversation.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Wow, like thanks. Like this is really helpful also for me to like talk about this
Yeah.
and yeah, I hope yeah, we're getting close to the hour, but I hope this has been like useful for like anybody listening and yeah, maybe we should share like if people listening want to learn more about your retreat or my coach group coaching where they should go.
We should, we always ask guests when we interview them,
Yeah.
hey, where can we find more info? But we're very bad at self-promotion on this. See, we're learning. We're
Yeah.
learning. Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys do want to find out more about the retreat, you can always DM me at Pink Barn Creative on Instagram if you have questions. Um, but if you're just ready to sign up, want to see that waitlist page, we'll put it in the comments or in the description. But it is pinkbarncreative.com/retreat dash waitlist. And
Cool.
what about you?
Yeah, so I think the best is to find me on LinkedIn or Instagram, which is probably how you have found this episode anyway. So so I'm gonna be talking about that there, and I'm gonna yeah make sure that my wait list is visible. At some point, it will be on my website also, but I've been more visible on or like more active on Instagram too. Finally, after a long time, and I'm actually really liking it. So so yeah, yeah,
See, the more things you learn about yourself, the more you
yeah,
show up.
yeah, totally.
I remember when we started this series, you were like, I'm not posting on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nope.
I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, and one more plug for us. Our next plant-powered coffee chat is the 24th of April. So we hope to see you guys there. We can talk about new offers if that's something
Yeah.
you support with, overcoming those mindset blocks, or even developing your offer and how to market it. We're here to support you guys. Those calls are for you. So we hope to see you there.
Yeah. Thank you,
Ready to
Bree.
wrap up? Yeah, thank you, Johanna, for sharing, and for everyone for listening this far. We will be back next month with a brand new episode. Till then, bye.
Bye.